We were on the cusp of greatness, brothers, but sadly, that dream will never be. What in the Emperor's name am I talking about? It is the cancelled Horus Heresy MMO. Yes, we were supposed to be getting an MMO in the Horus Heresy. Let's jump in. Let's look at this in a bit more details. Let's look at some of the footage, apparently, which was attached to this game, and also some of the big name writers that were going to be attached to this project. Now, for those of you who remember, back in May 2023, there was a big announcement of a Warhammer MMO that was currently in production. It was by the studio Jack Ecliptic Games. It was funded by NetEase. And there was a lot of buzz about this because we didn't know if it was going to be a fantasy one, if it was going to be 40k. Eventually, it did come out that it was going to be a sci-fi type of MMO set in Warhammer. So the 40k fans were all buzzing. But now we've learned from that it was going to be a Horus Heresy game. It was going to be a Horus Heresy MMO where you could take a character and battle across the galaxy in some of the most biggest epic bloody battles that shook the galaxy back then. In the background right now, I'm going to be showing some footage. And this footage you see in the background is coming from a Twitter account called John Animates. Now, John Animates has actually worked on projects like Astartes, all these epic scenes that we used to buzz and love for Astartes. This chap actually put some of the VSX together. He's actually some big, massive projects. I'll include his link in the Twitter description down below if you want to go and check him out. But the footage you're seeing is some early test development footage of what the game potentially could be looking like. You can see a Marine running around, the animations and stuff. You can see some of the assets, of course, that they've been building. If I'm not mistaken, because there's some screenshots that we're going to show off in a second, this is Prospero. So it seems that one of the battles that were going to be taking place in this game was the Battle of Prospero. Space Wolves, Custodes, Thousand Suns, Warp Entities, Magnus, Lehman Russ, all these amazing things that we've read about in the Horus Heresy, all these amazing things that I've been yapping about. Why haven't we got games about this? Why aren't we taking part in all this stuff? This is the kind of content that we want in Warhammer gaming, and it looks like we're going to get that, but it was taken away from us. And we actually had some big names attached to this product as well. Image in the background, because this is how I initially found out about this. Graham McNeil actually retweeted this footage, and as you can read in the background, it says, I did some writing on this game, the characters, the missions, the scripts, etc., and it was shaping up really nice. Damn shame. That really puts the dagger and twists it for me, because again, Graham and Dan did that crossover book, Prospero Burns and stuff like that, where it was all about, of course, the siege of Prospero. Again, I'm not saying that the entire game was going to be around Prospero. You know, maybe there's going to be more battles, Calth, maybe Terra itself, right? This the Battle of the Fall, right? The Iron Warriors losing, Perturabo losing to Captain Pollux. You know, we could have had these amazing events across the galaxy. I just feel really, really bad that one thing that I want more than anything is a Warhammer Horus Heresy type of game. I'm amazed that we haven't had one at this point. I know people got to argue, well, Valrak, we've got the card game, which is basically being cancelled now, and that's going to run out soon. And we had that like kind of drop pod base building game on the like iOS and Android, which is basically just a cash grab, to be fair. But apart from that, there hasn't really been any big Horus Heresy games, and that's insane, because this setting literally has the Emperor, Primarchs, Malkador, legions, absolute legions of Space Marines, and on top of that, some of the most famous characters from those legions, Sigismund, Abaddon, right? You've got them all. Erebus, for those people who, you know, are just absolute fiends. You've got it all there, and we haven't yet had a game. Well, we're about to get a game, but it all got cancelled, and it actually wasn't Games Workshop's fault. It was the fault of NetEase and Jack Ecliptic Games. They pulled the plug, apparently, because of money issues. Why those money issues arose, I have absolutely no idea. I can probably guess it's all down to the suits, right? Oh, maybe we're not going to make a profit on this game. Maybe it's not going to do this. Maybe it's not going to do that. Let's pull the plug earlier so we don't waste our money into it. I think that could have been a big slap in their face, because Space Marine 2 came out after this, and Space Marine 2 absolutely crushed it with the numbers. And I personally think if this game was still in production, or maybe it was about to come out with all the hype around Space Marine 2, this game could have been in an absolutely fantastic point to launch into that fandom. Look at Dawn of War 4 that's coming out in summer. There's so much hype. There's so much talk about that. Total War 40k that's going to be releasing in 2027. There's so much massive hype now around 40k/Warhammer games. This would have been perfect. It would have been fantastic. But like I said, we were on the cusp of greatness, and sadly, it will never be, brothers. Anyway, brothers, I'll leave the video there. I'll put some more footage in the background from John Animates, some screenshots and stuff if you've not already seen them now in the background of the video. This game was shaping up to be something I personally think could have been absolutely big, but we'll never see the light of day again. This is Eternal Crusade 2.0. If they only had the faith in the Emperor, if they only had the resources, the skill, the money, we could have had some absolute bangers. But like I said, fear not, we still have Dawn of War 4 on the horizon, Total War 40k, and they're already starting to talk about Space Marine 3. I'm going to do a big video of that over the weekend, because we finally have talk about the sequel to, I say, the potentially biggest 40k game there's ever been, Space Marine 2. And I'm sure people are going to argue with me, what about Dawn of War? All right, yeah, Dawn of War's big, but I think Space Marine 2 blew out the water in terms of sales. Well, again, that's just my viewpoint on that. Anyway, thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. As always, got any thoughts, feedback, anything like that, post it down below. I'm a nice, well, no, I can't even speak. We'll have a nice little chin wag down there, as we always. I'm too upset to talk, right? I'm crying. I'm going to be crying in the other room now while I'm painting my Imperial Fist from the 11th edition box set. See y'all. Have a great day, evening, night, wherever you are in the world, and bye-bye.